For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm answering a question that we're getting asked a lot at the moment is kind of who are Telta? So Telta are basically a new awning brand on the marketplace, and they're almost kind of they've kind of emerged out of kind of a previous company. So really kind of it's some of the key designers that have brought out the first inflatable kind of caravan awning in the marketplace, best part of 12 years ago. So it's basically kind of that same kind of ethos, but established in a brand new brand. The previous brand, sort of beginning with the word K, essentially it's got very similar designs, but a whole new tweak. And there's almost an element of kind of additional improvements that maybe they couldn't necessarily do in their range, purely because things had to fit historically, should we say. So kind of what we've got here is Telta are trying to create almost what in their eyes is the perfect awning, whether it be down to the material, down to the structure, down to the design, to the flexibility, to just the then amount of range that you have to choose, or make things a lot more streamlined. So kind of a lot going on there. So throughout this video, we'll quickly look at the three main models that kind of are offering in the static market, and different sizes and depths. So there are three main models. So we'll start initially with the Pure. Pure is the one I've got with me here. It's a 2.5 meter deep awning, available in different widths. So a 260, 330 and 390. So we'll talk briefly about it in general, and then move forward. Kind of, if you want more detailed videos, we've got sort of individual review videos on all of the, say, Pure, the Soul and the Life models, so you can check out those individually. So first thing is to make out is obviously the fabric itself. It's a breathable material. It's designed particularly to be kind of breathable, so on a warm day it's cooler inside, but on a cold day it is naturally warmer as well. Typically, it's also lighter in terms of its overall weight. So the problem we find normally with all-season awnings, you get the benefit of the breathability, but they're bigger, they're bulkier, and they're more hassle when you come to overall pitch. So Telta really strives to necessarily find a material that is a bit lighter. It runs about 10% heavier than your normal kind of touring awning would be, but it's about 20% lighter than a sort of seasonal awning. So you get the best of both worlds. It's not that much difference. All of the models throughout the whole range, the side panels and front panels can completely remove as well. So it means you can actually reduce that minimum weight, as we call it, down. So it's just the roof and the tubes itself, making it much easier to feed directly through the caravan rail, pitch, sort of, well, inflate, zip the panels in and go from there. It allows you throughout the whole model range as well to reduce the overall pack size into 2 bags, so you remove the front panels and the side panels along with the pump pegs and so forth, make it more manageable and easier to store around the caravan or motorhome. The whole collection also fits caravan or motorhome vehicles. So traditionally you've got a zip located on the external side here, which actually allows to increase the height, and what they've designed essentially is a one size fits all. So the whole fitting awning range will fit anything from attachment heights of 235 up to 280, so it's a real nice spread. Essentially what you do is when you need to extend it, you merely just open up the zip itself, that whole thing drops down, reveals another zip. So each zip gives you 15 centimeters higher in terms of the fitment point. So with zip closed, you're looking at 235 to 250. Open the zip once, you're up to 250 to 265. Open the final zip, it's 265 to 280. So that's going to fit pretty much about 95, 98% of motorhomes on the marketplace. This actually is a first production sample. This will be slightly different, that the zips can be located a bit higher, so the whole kind of excess fabric will be hidden behind the beam, and it looks a bit smarter as well. External ventilation points are throughout the awnings, and again the panels can interchange with one another sideways, which basically repositions the sort of door from the back naturally towards the front itself. A big update they've made in comparison to sort of other models is they're using a kind of nylon casing around the tube to basically reinforce it, make it stronger, and actually we've still got one single inflation point for all of the awning ranges, so it means it's very quick and easy to pitch. We also have done, of course, a pitching video on all of the Pure, Life and Soul models to give you an idea of how simple it really is. At the bottom of each beam, we do have deflation points as well, naturally just to kind of keep it easier to pack our way. I'll tell you what, that's enough talking about sort of the Pure and getting a bit more of an idea for the Pure. Let's move on to the next model in the range, which is the Life. So we'll flip to that, look how it's a bit different, and again talk through some more Telta features across the range when we look at that now. So now with the Telta Life, and the Life basically is kind of a slightly different design to we've seen previously with the Pure. So not only is it deeper, being 275 rather than 250 we've seen, but also it's kind of more of a traditional kind of look, still inflatable and everything we've talked about thus far. The inflatable kind of traditional look basically gives you a bit of an apex part. You've got this little brow canopy, of course, which is fully inflatable as well, and then also this flexibility that, again, as we previously mentioned, all the panels can be removed to reduce that minimum weight down. One key feature that is different, obviously, about kind of the Life is the fact we've got almost like a little mini entrance located at the front. And again, be it we've got the 330 size here, it's available also in a 330 as well as a 390 width. The side panels on kind of the whole of the Telta's awning ranges have been tweaked a bit, so the overall height is basically a lot taller and a lot wider, so it means you can actually bring the outside in a lot easier, plus the fact that you haven't got that sort of dip in and out, duck in and out when you want to. And there's a really nice flexible optional extra you can buy, which is an extra large sort of annex, they call it, and it's sort of its three purposes in one. So you've got an annex for sleeping, and it comes with a bedroom. You've also got windows built into it, so it's almost like a conservatory, and naturally it's kind of be more like a what some brands might call an extension, because there's a door into it and also a mesh part to it as well. So you can actually go into kind of the annex before going into the main body. It helps to increase your living area as well as sleeping area, and it's versatile. And because it goes onto the side panel, you don't have to buy a left-hand or right-hand version. You can go on either end and you can buy two. And naturally, because again, it's a taller headroom height, it feels bigger overall. So again, that's a really nice optional extra for kind of Telta. In fact, kind of what we'll do is let's kind of swing the camera inside and look through some of the more features that Telta offer for their awnings. So now we're inside, you can probably appreciate the overall internal kind of feel of the Telta awnings itself. Now, like I said, we'll talk through some accessories that you can purchase to add to your Telta awning to again make it your home away from home. We've got the ability of rear poles to help seal it against kind of the caravan or motorhome and stop the draft coming directly through. It's one size fits all, so it doesn't matter what height you go to, that will be your first point of call. There's a lovely and nice amount of breathable flooring as well. Each model has, and each size has its own individual size, so it's again designed specifically in mind to fit perfectly and not be kind of, you're not having to compromise anywhere. Traditionally, kind of all of the awnings come with draft skirt as standard, but your wheel arch cover would be an extra, mostly because some caravans, for example, have single axles, some of the twins, so it depends on what suits you. Other things to mention that you can look at are roof lines like we have here. And the thing that makes this a bit different to kind of, again, other brands is that they sort of have buckle clips into them and you can have tension points. So even if you're not the best at putting them in and out, you can make them look really quite nice and neatly, and it sits quite happily without having to lose essentially headroom from that point of view. Another thing you can look at, as we talked about, is storm straps that go externally. Helps to really brace up the awning and look at it a bit smarter. There's also an accessory track located on here as well, so you can add hanging organiser pockets to sort of mean that you can declutter your main part of your living area without having to worry about having it on a table. Also, veranda poles is again one size fits all. So like we've got a nice veranda pole here. What you can also do with the veranda pole is actually, not only can it go into the front panels, it's long enough that what you can do when you buy the veranda pole, it comes with additional clips. You can then put it kind of front to rear with the straps, so then you have kind of a hanging rail, so you can put clothes and things onto, or of course create a veranda pole for the side. So again, that's a really nice kind of optional extra you can do. And because it's nice and versatile, you can obviously pick and choose between having it in the front panel, in either front panel, the sides, or likes of that really. Other things to mention as well is from the inside point of view is that the curtain materials is like a traditional kind of curtain. The attachments are actually of the curtains are on the panel itself, so it means that when you remove the panel, you also remove the curtains, so it's a bonus you haven't got to take them in and take them out. Plus the fact the material is a really nice kind of sort of softer fabric to match kind of the soft feeling of the awning, so it's not that kind of shower curtain kind of fight. Really, it's a much more of a nicer, classier touch in comparison. But that extra depth in kind of the life works really nicely, and again, headroom height works really well. There's Velcro tabs on all of the awnings located, so you have additional tube lighting if you wanted to, and even when the sort of roof line is in place, you still have access to a little point located there. But yeah, okay, so that's really kind of the life. What we'll finally finish up with is the look and feel of the sole. So this is my sole, or the sole I should say. So the sole itself is available in two different widths. So we've got the 390, which we have here, or you can get also a 490. It's designed basically to fit in kind of a 4 or 5 meter cassette awning. It's also worth mentioning that in terms of the overall depth, we are looking at a slightly deeper awning as well. So it's actually a 325 at its deepest point. So it's 275, same as the kind of life, but then we gain an extra bit with a bay window, so it's 325 to this point here, and it does create that kind of bay window effect, give you that great sort of panoramic visibility on the campsite. We also find actually that we go into 3 panels on the front rather than the 2, so arguably, depending on how your setup is, it could be a bit more versatile that you have one panel open or the middle one with kind of the veranda setup like we have here. You still have the brow canopy pole with standard on there as well. And as we've talked about, you know, all panels are completely removable. Worthwhile mentioning the fact that with the all of the extras in terms of are still applicable that we've talked about here. One thing that I neglected to mention, I'm pretty certain on the inside, was the sort of ability of adding additional lighting from additional brands. But all in all, I think this is a quite nice collection throughout the range. It's worth at this point actually mention they do also make a driveway version in the Pure. It's a little bit different because it's more of a ripstop polyester material, so you haven't got all that breathability that we've talked about kind of throughout all three of these little models. But as previously mentioned, if there's anything else you need to know in depth on the model, it's almost worth having a look because, again, there's a lot of details throughout. I think like some of the videos are about 20 minutes long, talking about every little feature, giving a bit more of a feel for the insides and outs of it. I appreciate that we're only doing it for one shot, but that's kind of the main kind of three collections in Telta's models. There's also do a sun canopy, again in a polyester material, which you can check out, but that in the base fit and a windbreak, I should also mention that. So really, I think from an opening year from Telta and kind of establishing themselves on kind of the market, there's a lot of extra talking points here that maybe you don't see elsewhere, a lot more functionality, and that core feature about breathability and offering nearly every size that you want, be it your 260, your 330, 390, and in different depths, your 250, your 270, and your 325, you can really kind of pick and choose the awning that's really best suited for you. For more information, feel free to check the link below this video. We'll go through all of our Telta products that we are available on purchase on our website, as well as that'll link through to every single individual video that we've done on them, plus the pitching videos we've done on them as well, just to give you size and bedtime watching. But all in all, let us know what you think of Telta, whether you think it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's always great to have good feedback or any feedback from you in the comments box below, and of course for more information feel free to let us know. But that hopefully gives you a bit more of insight into what Telta's about, the models they do, the sizes they do, and kind of how they offer something that we've not quite seen before and it still seems fairly familiar. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon in our next Attwoolls video review.